peace for a couple minutes throughout the day. And it's just unwinding things that I can do. I draw, or I get into just like watch something that's just not wrestling related whatsoever. Just to get myself out of that zone there, because I watch a ton of wrestling stuff all day long. That's all I do. All wrestling stuff. I'm always thinking about doing this, different wrestling things, different nuances, how I should move, how I should look, how I should talk, all that stuff all day long. So when it's time for me to get out of that mindset, usually starting on Mondays, I don't want to do anything that's wrestling related, so I can get that out of my head, give myself a break. Because it's just all 100 miles an hour. So if I keep that up, it just doesn't do any good.
Yeah, if you are just, consuming the same thing over and over and over again, you're not allowing other things to come inside your brain so that you can, build off of that and be the creativeness. Like, I remember I've been lucky enough to work with Bishop Khan, and him and I would kind of talk about, what kind of TV shows you're watching, because, you can take or TV movies, you can take so many different things, like little characteristics or actual phrases from, certain actors or certain characters, because, they're just built to be these awful people or sometimes these best people, and they have the best lines. So, if you can use those in your promos, you're thinking about wrestling, but it's coming from a non-wrestling place.
Yeah, there's nuances like movies and stuff and books that I get different ideas that I kind of put in my back pocket for things. A lot of them usually come from for me, from different types of books and stuff. Some kind of quote coming from somewhere. And mostly the way I kind of move is like watching a monster movie anyway. So there's a lot of that I just watch and just kind of mirror stuff. If you ever see me get ready for a lockup, there's a different way I start doing my lockups and stuff, and the way I move that generally people think I'm shorter than I am. When they see some of this shit, I'm like, it's not that I'm short, I'm hunched over for a reason, motherfucker. This is the way how it looks before you do monster battles or whatever. But it's one of those things that I get little nuances from watching shit that I'm not particularly looking for out of for wrestling, but I feel oh, that's a cool little thing. I wonder if I can put that into something. And a lot of my moveset looks like it's from out of a fucking comic book or a monster movie. So
that's really cool that you do that. And I didn't think, obviously, when you're a big man, you have to, for the most part, work a big man style. But I didn't think about, if you are a big man, go watch monster movies and you can kind of get little ideas from there. That's a really smart idea. I didn't think about that.
Well, that's why there's only one person that does it like me, and it's just me. So that's the best part. Because everybody's all stuck in this box of things that they have to kind of pull off. And I'm in my own box also. I'm in my own box also because of the way my character is and how I move and how strong I am. So I get put in my own box. I can only do certain things. I can't go out there and do luchador shit, but I can fly around like a cruiserweight if I want to. But it's not something I there's just I have to work a certain different way than most people do, and I have to kind of stick in that box because one, just longevity. That's a big one.
What kind of monster movies do you enjoy?
Oh, I'm a big Godzilla fan. Anything that does werewolves and stuff like that, shark movies, those. There's a lot of horror movies in general. Is a big one for me. So I just watch a lot of horror movies. So there's just a ton.
That's awesome. I haven't seen the new Godzilla movie yet. Have you seen it yet?
The -1?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just watched that one last night.
Is it good?
It was pretty fucking sweet. It's the craziest Godzilla I've ever seen on screen.
Really?
Yeah, it was very interesting. I like the whole evolution of the whole thing, but it definitely had it was a cool horror movie that they kind of made it out of, and the nuance of the 1954 Godzilla was pretty crazy.
Yeah, because I really enjoyed, all the Godzilla movies they come out with so far, and the Godzilla and King Kong was so great, and then I was very curious how that one was going to end, because obviously the original one had two different endings, one for America, one for Japan, and this one only had the one ending because, if it's a spoiler for anybody, that's on you. The fact that they did end up teaming up at the end to take out the Mega Godzilla. So I was curious where they're going to go with the Godzilla movies after this. So I liked what you just said. I'm going to have to check that out this week then.
Yeah, it's a good movie, just in general. It's a great Godzilla movie. It's a good movie in general, just because of like the nuance of how like the story's getting told, and like, again, if you just go in there without watching any other Godzilla movies, you're just watching this one. This is your first one. It's like watching the very first Godzilla all over again, and just like getting that terror that comes out with having this monster doing this thing.
Oh, I love that. Now, you are, an up-and-coming talent here in the Texas scene. The Texas scene is incredibly hot. Can you tell us about some other talent from the Texas scene that you can that people should look out for?
Well, there's a lot, man. There's a lot of good talent out there. Mysterious Q is one that comes to mind, but he just got I think he had like surgery done. Exodus Prime, Daniel Ryan, Caleb, Ollie Summers. They're all some good young kids too. Rachel Rose, Ion has been over Japan doing great things. Two Vert Vixen's one. And there's almost too many names. I think every place I go, there's great talent all over the place, and a lot of them are doing their own thing. Some of them just kind of stick around in Texas, and they just don't know how to get out of the state. But if they did, they do pretty well. I don't know if they just haven't figured it out yet. But there's a lot, man. You're just trying to. It's just almost too many.
Yeah, I felt I was putting you on the spot because I was like, you'll name some people, but then later you'll think about them, or like they'll listen and be like, "Hey, you didn't say me," and it's like, "Well, I was, didn't think about it ahead of time," that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's too many to name. There's so much potential, just like different people who are still getting in, trying to figure it out themselves, and just like growing who they are as a wrestler, but trying to think off like Brian Keith for one. He's about to go to Japan, and I don't even put in his name or anything, but everybody knows Brian Keith's the man. So there's that. There's just tons of people. Like I said, Culture Shock is Ollie and them. They're some young kids, and I feel like they're getting in their groove of shit now. There's some players that like Jay Davis is one that just wrestled here Saturday. I'm not sure if he hasn't gone out of state yet, but this dude, he's tough looking, right? He can move, he can work, he can wrestle and stuff like that. But if he went out of state, I'm pretty sure he'd do pretty good and still know where some of these guys' mindsets are for certain stuff. Or they're just getting overlooked, everybody usually does. So there's people like I wrestled like Epidemius Jr., good luchador dude, young guy. Anything else? Yeah, it's just too many to even try to like pinpoint.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Texas is such a hotbed for so much talent, and I still think it's untapped, and I don't understand why. It still kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, some of these dudes just got to go out of state a couple times.
Yeah.
Follow them a little bit some more, but it's one of those things that it's hard to kind of like put a like a limit on who's like at the top, because there's like so many different styles or like different people. So
yeah. Now, being a Texas talent, and like you just mentioned, this past weekend, as we were recording, you were in Fort Worth and then down to Houston, and you live in Austin. So that's 3 hours up here, 4 hours down to Houston, 4 hours back over to Austin. Traveling all over Texas, do you try to ride share with other people? Do you just look out for what your bookings are? maybe see what other people have similar bookings? How do you try to normally navigate that?
No, I normally just do it by myself. I don't bother to ask because I like to be on my schedule, my time. I'm usually like the last person to leave the venue. Most of the time when I leave. Right. So I mean, I do ride. I have done some ride shares before, maybe a handful, maybe a few. So even less than that. But I like to be on my schedule, my time. I definitely don't mind if somebody wants to drive. I hate driving. I absolutely fucking loathe. So if somebody reaches out and stuff like that and wants to do the right thing, I'm not opposed to it at all. But generally most of the time, when I'm going to these places, there's not very many people that are from Austin that go to the places that I go to, right on those weekends. So it's a little bit harder. But sometimes it's like, people from San Antonio need to go through Austin to get to the next place. That's usually one of those things that ends up being, like a chance for me to do something with. But there's very many places I've gone to that had a place where I was at in Austin, I went to that same place. So it's just one of those things. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'm not usually bored. I just usually do it myself.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't know how that worked. So I know sometimes some of the guys and girls will try to ride together. So obviously cut down on gas and then cut down on wear and tear for the car.
Yeah, we want to as much as possible, for sure. Especially, if the means of like what you have to get there, a little tight, you want to try to for sure. But I just personally don't, just because like it's just where I'm at. There's not very many people going to those same places at that time frame. I'm trying to go to, they already have like some of their already riding with stuff, but looking at most of the places I go to, the people are from Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, but just most of the time where I'm going, there's just nobody going through Austin per se.
Okay. Now, as you've been coming up, who are some of the veterans that have kind of given you advice?
One that sticks out the most is probably Shane Taylor. We're always pretty cordial talking and whatnot, and I have a pretty good. I feel like I have a pretty good relationship with a lot of these other dudes that have been in the game a little while, and it's kind of hard off the name. It's just like some of the people, just like we're just having like regular conversations and stuff like that, more or less. Matt Palmer's probably another one. He's been in for a while, stuff like that. Has been real helpful. Athena has been real helpful. Just a few I can think of off the top of it. Even when I wrestled Lance Archer, I've only met him once. He's been super helpful with trying to help me get to the next level too. So again, I've only wrestled him once, only talked to him once, but that once is enough. It's not like someone had to know somebody for the past year or anything like that, but there's something beneficial that, meet you once to get to talk to you, and then, people being helpful just because that's just who they are. So it's kind of hard to name off. So those people, we're just having regular conversations trying to do the thing, but, those are the few that kind of stick off the top of my head.
Very nice. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to share a locker room with Shane and Lance, and they are a wealth of knowledge. And Shane is so knowledgeable, and like you said, he is so open and welcoming to help other talent just get to that next level. And he was doing a seminar, and I kind of caught bits and pieces, and I was just like, I think this thing could be like 3 hours long, and he still wouldn't tap into all the knowledge he has, because he is, he's done so much and he's seen so much, and, he's still killing it. Like, I think he needs to be on TV more, but for whatever reason he's not, but, that's not me.
Again, you're just not utilizing those people because you don't know what to do with them. Because, again, even Lance, he's fucking huge. He's a big, tall dude, right? So everybody else is all fucking small. It's the same problem I have everywhere I go. Everybody's fucking small in comparison. Like, so it's harder to kind of like, what the fuck do I do? I get this a lot. I'm not sure what I can do with you. I'm not sure what I can do with you. Well, fucking put me in a ring and ring the bell. That's what you do. That's all you need to do. And, it's one of those things that I get with like Lance, like, cool dude.